Hey guys, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman, and it's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content. In today's video, I review two fragrances that I've already mentioned a couple of times in my previous videos, but I have not done a full review on both of them, and in my opinion, they are a little bit of a sort of hidden gems for a few reasons. First of all, they're quite new to the markets. The second reason is that there aren't that many reviews on both of them, and the third reason is that in my humble opinion, they're quite good and I think they deserve to be mentioned in their own separate videos. The two fragrances are called Vogue Zingi from the brand of Paris Corner and Hooked Pour Homme Azzure from the brand of Rue Broca. The first fragrance that I'm going to talk about will be the one from Rue Broca, which is called Hooked Azzure Pour Homme. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the full packaging of the fragrance because for some reason I cannot find the box itself, but there's nothing too spectacular or too special about the box. It's a pretty simplistic looking box. I'll put a photo of the box somewhere around here. It comes in blue color. The important stuff about this fragrance that's written on the box is that the bottle size here is 100 milliliters and the concentration is EDP. When it comes to the actual bottle design, this is how the bottle looks. I kind of like the way that this bottle looks, and in fact it's identical when it comes to the bottle design to its brother, which is simply called Hooked, and this fragrance came out a couple of years ago. As you can see, putting them next to each other, they look pretty much identical, but to be honest, I definitely prefer this sort of a slightly darker shade of blue color that this bottle has. The cap is actually plastic with metal coating, and it's quite heavy, and it's also a pretty snug fit, and this is how the sprayer works. I can't say it's the strongest sprayer in the world. They could have probably done a slightly better job, so my advice will be to if you pick up this fragrance, that you have to adjust the number of sprays that you use, because the whole sprayer is a little bit on the weaker side. When it comes to the scent, I ordered this one completely blindly. I didn't know what to expect. I read a few reviews here and there, and a lot of people were actually comparing this fragrance to YSL La Nuit de L'Homme Blue Electric, and I sort of expected this to smell like that, but it doesn't. It smells like a completely different fragrance. Maybe there are some hints of Blue Electric somewhere buried in the scent of Azzure, Hooked Azzure, but this definitely smells a lot closer to something else. And that something else is Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua and also Rassasié Hawas and Rassasié Hawas Black. Now, to my nose, this stands maybe somewhere in between Hawas and Hawas Black. Because this is a little bit darker, a little bit more spicy than the OG Rassasié Hawas. It lacks a bit of the freshness, a bit of that aquaticness that you'll get out of Rassasié Hawas, but I would still say that it's not as dark as Rassasié Hawas Ice. This opens up sweet. There's still a lot of sweetness with this fragrance. It has a lot of lavender, which adds a more sort of an aromatic feel to it compared to the OG Rassasié Hawas. This also feels a little bit more spicy and definitely feels green. This has the note of rosemary. It also has a few other green notes, which definitely make this scent a little bit, I would say, slightly more mature than Rassasié Hawas itself. So it's slightly less playful, it's less fresh and aquatic. This is more spicy, slightly greener, and a little bit less sweet. The dry down still becomes quite sweet. There's more ambery sweetness on the dry down. There's, I think, some vetiver, maybe a hint of some oats, and some of that sweetness from the opening carries over to the dry down. In general, this is a sweet fragrance, but again, slightly more mature than Rassasié Hawas and less aquatic and fresh. And this maybe makes it a little bit more orientated not only to the warm months of the year, but also like early spring and late fall. All in all, this has a surprisingly good quality, I would say, considering that it's a very, very cheap scent, but I'll talk about pricing in a second. When it comes to performance, it's also surprisingly good. It lasts for a good amount of time. I've been getting around about 7 to 8 hours of performance out of it, which is, I would say, definitely above average in my books. And also, just like many other fragrances that carry this scent profile, this also tends to project quite nicely in the first about, I would say, hour and a half. When it comes to the price, I personally paid, I think, around about 20 euros, somewhere around that price point. And at that price point, this is pretty much the cheapest good clone or alternative of Invictus Aqua and Rassasié Hawas that I have in my collection. This is pretty much costs half the price of Rasasi House, costs half the price of Nitro Red and all the good clones of Invictus Aqua. So at that price point, if you really like this scent profile, I think this is pretty much a no-brainer in my opinion. And when it comes to versatility, this is, I would say, a little bit more versatile than House itself, because you can wear this in the summertime just like House, although technically you can wear House whenever you want, but this also can work in colder weather as well, because it's a little bit darker in my opinion and slightly more mature. And this is also for the guys who like that scent profile but find House to be a little bit too youthful. This in my opinion carries a little bit more of a mature factor. And now let's talk about the second fragrance, the one from Paris Corner, which is called Zingi. Here I can actually show you the box because I found it. It comes in this green colored box that feels sort of has this very nice look in my opinion, with some I don't know, like golden accents. Again, the important stuff here is bottle size 100 milliliters and the concentration is EDP. And this is the bottle design. It's very similar to all other fragrances from the brand of Paris Corner, which are cloning Azzure original fragrances. For example, here I have the bottle of Vogue Elegante. As you can see, sitting next to each other, they're almost identical, apart from the fact that Vogue Zingi has this sort of a velvety finish on top of the bottle itself, but other than that, pretty much identical. Again, you get a plastic cap that has metallic coating. It's a snug fit, and this is the sprayer. Again, a little bit more on the weaker side, I would say, but definitely, you know, still does its job. But just like with the one from Rue Broca, you'll probably have to adjust the number of sprays with this one in order to get better performance. Although this is not a great performer, I'm going to tell you this right now. But when it comes to the scent, this is a clone of Torino 21 from the brand of Azzure, and it's a very good clone of Torino 21. Smells very similar to the original fragrance. If you're not familiar with the original one, it's a very fresh, very sort of an summery or vacation-like type of scent profile that has a lot of citruses up top. There's a bit of a green touch with this one, maybe a hint of spiciness, some ambroxan like any other modern fragrance. On the dry down it becomes musky, maybe there are a hint of some ouds as well. And this smells of very good quality. I was pretty much surprised by the quality of Vogue Zingi, to be honest, and will get you smelling pretty similar to the original fragrance. If you are familiar with the original one, you'll definitely recognize what Zingi is trying to do or to be. I've been quite pleasantly surprised by this one. Performance-wise, this is more on the moderate side because it's so fresh and so citrusy and whatnot, just like the original fragrance. The original is better, but not by much. This, I would say, will give you moderate performance, so we're talking about maybe 5 to 6 hours of performance. Initially it projects nicely because it has a lot of citruses. They tend to be quite loud in the beginning, but that good projection will last for about 1 hour, and after that this will start to sit closer and closer to the skin and giving you a total performance of 5 to 6 hours. Price wise, this is a little bit more expensive than this one, but still it costs around about 25 euros, so I would say no more than $30. And considering that the original fragrance comes from Azzure and it's quite expensive, and also that there aren't that many clones of the original one, I would say that this is a pretty good deal. And versatility wise, this is again a fragrance that's definitely more orientated towards the summertime. It just lacks the performance to work well in cold weather, and also the whole scent profile is basically best suited for the warmer months of the year. Definitely smells a little bit more mature, but it's a great fragrance for the summertime. And so guys, in today's video I reviewed two affordable little gems from the brands of Paris Corner and Rue Broca. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.